We back at it. Hi guys. Welcome to my podcast. Welcome to a bunch of kids playing house. As you can see from the title, today I'm going to talk about something very I don't even know what to call it. But something very interesting, which is something that I've realized in my journey. It's a journey, this thing where you just sit down and you ask yourself, how did we get here? Like, how did I get here? What happened to you? Oh, probably Professor Mamang. They even wrote a book about it. Say to ask. We don't ask people what's wrong with you. We ask them what happened to you. And that is a level of grace and curiosity that the people that we care about deserve. It might be a challenge. So I'm challenging you that the next time you hear that somebody did something very bizarre according to you, something that you consider bizarre, that you sit down and you ask yourself, what happened to them? Instead of asking, what's wrong with you? Like, how could you do that? Right? So the topic for today is, how can a person who was raised by both parents in the same house, parents that are literally still together today, if you go home, you will find them there with siblings also all around, with people all around their life. How can such a child have abandonment issues? How do you have abandonment issues if you were raised by both your parents? How do you have mommy and daddy issues? How can you say you have abandonment issues if you've been raised by both your parents or by your parent? How do we get there? Let's unpack. So yes, as I was saying, that we need to approach such things with the level of sensitivity that they deserve, where you ask someone, so what happened? Like, what happened to you? What makes you the person that you are? What fuels the decisions that you make? So me in this life, in this thing called life, Shem, I don't know, like, my late 20s showed me a lot of flames, So when you get to a point where you're now doing some soul searching and you want to find out, how did I end up in the situation that I ended up in? Why did I make the decisions that I have made? I realized that I had a lot of abandonment issues and a lot of decisions that I then made because of living from that wounded place, where because I was afraid of losing people. I was afraid of abandonment, and so I couldn't fathom why I would have abandonment issues, because I was like, no, but I have a mom and I have a dad, right? So Njani, like, why do I suffer from abandonment? Just why do I have an abandonment wound? If I know my dad, I know my mom. They raised me. I wasn't with them in the house every single day. So, Kanjani, how does that happen? How does that work? And then, when you go deeper into it, you realize, hooray, abandonment isn't just that the person isn't there physically. Yeah, I'm just gonna let that sink in. We don't experience abandonment because people are not there for us physically. No, that's not the only way to experience abandonment. If you were a child who grew up in a household where you were not seen or heard, you may have abandonment issues. If you were a child that grew up in a household where you were not validated, then you may have abandonment issues. And more than anything, because the people that you trusted and loved and that you hoped would look after and take care of you abandoned you, emotionally. Then you grow up and you abandon yourself, right? You abandon yourself in order to gain love from other people outside of yourself. So, as a child, if you're not given the attention, the affection, the acceptance that you need, you will suffer from abandonment issues. If you're a child that grows up in an abusive environment, meaning that your caretakers are unable to take care of you, the people that are supposed to take care of you are the ones that are abusing you, then you may grow up with abandonment issues. Because essentially what you're going to do as a child is, in order for me to not be in the dog box, or in order for me to not be the one that is picked on today, in order for me to not be the one that is abused today, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do everything humanly possible to make the abuser happy so that they don't abuse me or anybody else in the house. I am going to do anything feasibly possible to make life comfortable for this person so that they can leave us alone, so that we don't have to deal with this mess that we're dealing with. I am going to do anything and everything possible that will make this person happy, and maybe, just maybe, I will be happy too. Because whether you like it or not, right? Yes, how do we say this? Happiness is from within, right? But can you really be happy if the environment that you're in is not conducive? Can you really be happy if the environment that you're in is not conducive? If it's not aiding your happiness? If it's not peaceful? If it's not safe? Can you really say that you're happy? And there's also another thing about staying in places where you're not wanted for too long. It's that you start to feel like you need to do something in order to gain that love from those people. So, like I was saying, yeah, if you grew up in an environment where everything is just unsafe and unpredictable, if there was an unpredictable adult between the two, and you as a child felt unsafe and you felt that your emotional needs were not met, and that you were overlooked a lot, and nobody paid attention to you, nobody listened to you because everybody was just in their worlds, you may suffer from abandonment issues. And then this is going to be very difficult for you as an adult, because you will always feel lonely. You'll always feel lonely. I can tell you now that I feel like I've been alone all my life, and trust me, I'm almost always surrounded by people, but I've just always had the thing, oh, nobody understands me, right? Nobody understands me. Nobody's curious enough. And I had to look into that, because it's not their fault, you know. Like, how can I expect people to understand me if I don't understand myself? So that's part of doing the work. When everybody's like, oh, you need to do the work, that's literally it. Like, figure yourself out. Who are you? What are your needs? You cannot expect people to serve you if you don't know what is it that you need. My childhood dynamic then sipped into my adulthood, you know. I felt like I had to do a lot in order to be in a relationship, and yeah, friendships as well, you know. Oh baby, oh my baby, I would bend and break and Listen, I was water. Do you know water? I was water. You know, I mean, if there's nothing wrong with being water. You should be water in life. Just not to your detriment. You should be water. If it's freezing cold, you freeze. If it's hot, you boil. If you can't go through, you sip through. You if you know you must keep it going, can keep it flowing like the water. Yeah, I would bend over backwards, I would break, I would listen, nigite patlalatsa, okay, in order to be seen. In order to be seen, I wanted people to be like, yeah, Tara's a great friend, like she's so amazing. I don't know what I would do without her. I wanted to feel needed. I think actually that sums it up perfectly, because there's a difference between being in somebody's life because they want you to be there and you want to be there, and being in somebody's life because they need you. Because honestly, nobody really needs anyone ever. Like, you don't need anyone to survive. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be fine. Yes, it's absolutely beautiful to have people who love you, but you don't need them, and they don't need you. You just love them and they love you, and it's beautiful, and you get to coexist together. You get to live life together, but you don't need them. Because lena hana hore re phela ka lona and re phela le lena. You understand? Ha o phele ka bona, o phela le bona. You are alive and they can't take your breath away from you. Like, nobody can. Nobody can, okay? So for the longest time, that's what I needed to feel what do I even call it loved? But we will call it loved. That's what I needed to feel loved. I wanted to feel like if you don't need me, then I guess I would feel useless, because why am I here? Like, I can't do anything for you. Why am I here? And yeah, that was a horrible place to be in, especially in relationships, because people will let you people will let you and people will let you cut yourself thin. Hey, people will let you cut yourself thin. People will let you break yourself for them. Motho o tlo tlogela o te phatlhalatse and a fetsa ha se no phatlhala a re e kgobokantshe, because I didn't ask you, which is true. Nobody asked you to do that. Nobody asked you to do all of those things. No, absolutely nobody asked you to sacrifice yourself for them. But because you are in this relationship, you are in this friendship from a wounded place, and you would do anything, absolutely anything, for outside validation, then you do things that you are uncomfortable with. You say yes when you want to say no. You say no when you want to say yes. I don't know the number of times that I've refused. Should I call it help? Like, help in the sense of emotional support, because I'm the one that gives the help. I didn't know how to receive the help. I'm the one that gives the love, even though it was self-sacrificial. But I didn't know how to receive the love. And I think the minute I started to see everything being reciprocated to me, it was so foreign to me when the love I showed people was reciprocated to me. And it made me feel like, oh my God, like, oh my God, I'm just glad that I've never really been in a situation where I was involved with a person who does illegal things or who was a scammer and all of those things, because I don't know what I would have done to keep those people in my life. Like, I'm glad it was never that deep, because I don't know. No. I hate to admit it, but I think no, guys. If I had met people that wanted more than what I was willing to offer, or that people that wanted more, right? People that wanted more from me, and the more was illegal, I probably would have done it, because I'm always the person who doesn't want to lose other people, and that's what abandonment issues will do to you, is that you feel you're insignificant if you're not of service to somebody else, right? It's almost as if having people to love, or having people to be in relationships with, or people to be in relations with, is your source of life. And the minute you can't be that, you don't know who you are. If you're not performing for love and acceptance, you feel like you're nothing. Like, if I'm not your girlfriend, then what am I? You take your role in people's lives so seriously, because you don't want them to abandon you like your parents did. You don't want them to abandon you like your parents did. Therefore, you will do for them what you did for your parents. You will be the child who's not troublesome. You'll be the friend that's not troublesome. You'll be the friend that doesn't pick fights. You won't pick fights. Because you don't want to be in that uncomfortable situation. If I say my truth, then this one akakwata, and hakakwata, then we will end up not being friends, and I'm not gonna have friends anymore, and nobody's gonna love me. This is the only person that has loved me and accepted me, and nobody else is ever gonna love me and accept me again. These are the thoughts of a person who has abandonment trauma, who had that kind of a childhood trauma, is that when you find somebody that loves you, you want to hold on to them so much, because you believe or nobody else is gonna love you. Because, I mean, your parents didn't love you. They did. Just bear with me, right? Because you felt that your parents didn't love you, or your parents didn't show up for you the way that you needed them to show up for you. Therefore, you grow up with that mindset, okay? In order for me to be loved and have people around me that like me and support me, I need to jump through hoops. I need to break myself into half. I need to bend over. I need to lie down. I need to serve them. They are my master. You idolize the people that you believe you love so much, because when you look at them, you're like, I am not deserving. How can someone like you love someone like me? Not even my parents did that for me. You start to idolize them. You look at them like you're gods. And that is why people will just get away with a lot. That is why people got away with a lot when it comes to me, because I was just like, as long as you stay, it's fine. You can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As long as I know you love me, as long as you say you love me also, because you don't have a tangible example of what it is really to have your needs met. So the minute somebody meets just the bare minimum of your needs, you feel like, whoa, oh my God, I've hit the jackpot. I'm the luckiest. Oh my babe, I'm the luckiest woman alive. I'm the hunty just on God, the bare minimum. And I'm saying this with the greatest, like with the most humblest grace, you know, with the most grace, with the most sympathy, from a heart of love, because been there. I've been there. Like, I've been the girl who had no expectations. Like, I had no expectations. All I did was give, give, give. All I do is give, 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 no matter what. No expectations whatsoever. Whatever you give me in return was more than enough for me. I did not, reciprocation was not a word in my diary. What is that? Like, my job is to love you. When your job is to stay? I love you, you stay. That's it. And then I can feel worthy of myself. This could mean something to me. And you can imagine how difficult it is to break that kind of mindset. You can imagine how difficult it is to admit to yourself, Hore, there are certain things that happened to you that made you think the way that you think, and that as a child you did not grow up in the loving home that you thought you were growing up in. Having to realize, Hore, right, like you give and you give and you give and you give, you bend over backwards and sideways and under the table just for acceptance. Just for acceptance. So abandonment issues, when you show up in relationships, you then abandon yourself, you know, like you used to as a child, where you're not allowed to have the feelings that you're having, you're not allowed to have the views that you have, because they're upsetting the other person. Pela, your views are upsetting the other person, therefore you're not allowed to feel how you feel. So you learn to put yourself at the back seat and serve other people. Oh, this is what we're doing. And then you do that. And then you go up and you do that as an adult. And it's just a pity that nobody tells you that, you know, you need to unlearn. And I honestly don't know what it takes to get to a point where you realize, oh no man, you know, like, this is not good for me. I'm not being good to me, because nobody is there to guide us and show us, well, okay, this is what they mean when they say you need to love yourself. This is what they mean when they say you need to have boundaries. This is what it looks like when a man loves you. This is what it looks like when a friend loves you. This is what it looks like when parents love you. This is how you show up for your children. This is how you show up for your friends. This is how you show up for somebody that you're romantically involved with. This is how you show up at work. This is how you don't let people take advantage of you. This is how you protect yourself. This is self-love. This is self-care. And that's the biggest reason for a podcast like mine, is to say you cannot change what happened to you, or you cannot change your childhood. You can't change your childhood. However, you can choose to show up differently. And it's not going to be an easy one day thing. It's not going to be an easy one day thing. That's also something that I've realized. And there are days when I sit and I beat myself up. But then I say to myself, you can't beat yourself up. You can't, because 3 years ago you didn't even know that there was something wrong with what happened. So it can't be you. You can't be the girl that is chastising yourself about this thing that you just did, because 3 years ago you wouldn't be feeling what you're feeling, because you didn't know. You didn't know. Now you know. And it is a privilege. It is a privilege that you get to sit yourself down and say, hey, I thought we were working on this. What happened there? Come sit, let's talk about it. Let's go over the notes. What happened? What did this person say? What did you say? And then what happened? What did you say? And then what did you decide to do? Did we not say we're not gonna? Or did we say we're gonna start doing this? without being hard on yourself, because 3 years ago you didn't know. Hey, God, do you know how painful it is to get to a realization where you were like, all my life I've thought that I had to accept what I'm handed. All my life I thought that I had to accept what I'm handed because nobody told us that no, you can get better. No. That is unacceptable. You deserve so much better. That is unacceptable. You know how painful it is to realize that you are telling me that I didn't have to suffer. Like, I had a choice to not suffer. Is that what you're saying? The sheer realization, you actually have you actually have a choice. You have it no matter what situation you're in. You have a choice. It's your life, and you have a choice. You can choose to do whatever you want to do, and you need to back yourself up. So yeah, abandonment. And as much as we like saying, oh, people have abandonment issues because his father walked out on her mother when she was 3 months old. And then you find that mother then works on themselves and becomes the best mother and emotionally and physically available to their child, and their child grows up and knows what it's like to grow up in a home that is filled with warmth and love. And here you come from a two-parent household, and they did not have the luxury of genuine, consistent, safe love and communication. And here you are battling with abandonment wounds. So abandonment, you can have abandonment wounds even if you're raised by both your parents, and how you show up because of that wound is what you need to work on. It happened, you can't change it, but you can change. You can rewire your brain and realize that nobody can abandon you. You have yourself, and that's all that matters. That is all that you will ever need. Community is important. Community is extremely important. However, do you really have a community if you're not yourself? Are your friends really your friends if you're not yourself? Do your friends really love you if you don't love you? If you don't know you? How do they show up for you if you can't show up for yourself? How does it help if you're going to show up for people and end up lonely anyway? You know how painful it is to be within people and still be lonely, and still feel like you can't tell anybody about what you're going through because you haven't created a safe environment. How lonely it is to go through, whether it's good news or bad news, and not know who to tell because you haven't cultivated that environment of having safety within each other. Because you abandon yourself, you always leave yourself at the door. When somebody comes in, you leave yourself at the door, you clung to that person. And when they leave, you have to go pick yourself up at the door. You left yourself at the door, which means that you didn't get to experience. You and your inner child did not get to experience this life that you're living, or this person that came to visit that you had to abandon yourself for. You did not fully get to experience that person or that event or that moment because you left yourself at the door. So this one is a tough one for me. I can say a lot about it. I can say a lot of how your choices are influenced by your abandonment wound, because you never want to rub people the wrong way, so you never really know what to say. You never really know what to say. You never really know whether to offer help or not to offer help. Because is it genuine? Am I going to offer you my help and then get home and beat myself up? Am I gonna do that? Am I gonna let you be there for me and then you're gonna remind me one day? Are you gonna remind me, Hore, you know, I was once there for you and you can't do this for me? Are you gonna feel like you owe me? Am I gonna owe you just because you were there for me? Am I gonna now owe you? You know, because that's how it was. The minute you wanna address an issue, you're told, after everything I've done for you, you don't know what, all the sacrifices that I carried you for 9 months. And so you grow up as a person who can't now express their feelings because you don't want to make the other person's effort seem like they were for nothing. But actually you did that thing that you said, that joke that you said, friend, it actually did hurt me. And I'm only talking about that joke. Everything else that has happened before that joke does not amount to nothing just because I'm hurt by your silly joke. It does not discredit everything else that you and I have been through. The fact that you have hurt me should not discredit everything else that has happened between us. I am allowed to be hurt. I'm allowed to feel hurt, and I'm allowed to be heard when I express how I feel about something that you have done that has impacted me. Your intention does not override the impact. So I hope I've done this conversation justice. I just feel like there's so much I can say without bearing my soul out there, like without literally vomiting my experiences. But basically, abandonment issues can come from you having both parents, both very much alive, both very physically there, but emotionally not there. Parents that are not supportive, parents that are maybe abusive. And so as a child, you feel neglected, your needs are not met, and you struggle to connect with the people that you love, because the same people that you love and are supposed to take care of you are the very same ones harming you. So then you develop trust issues as well. You develop trust issues to be like, if the very same person that is supposed to validate me is the same person that is hurting me, who do I turn to? Who do I run to? I am all alone in this world. And the decisions that you make based on that realization, nobody's looking out for me. Nobody is going to look out for me. You then believe that you need to suffer alone. Then you go through the world alone, lonely and afraid that nobody's gonna come and rescue you. So I'm asking you to go to therapy so you can help yourself and start forming authentic relationships, and start showing up authentically for you, for that little girl or that little boy that used to cry themselves until Baby Shabu used to cry themselves to bed, until Baby Shabu that used to cry in the corner alone and nobody, and wipe their tears and nobody would know because you didn't want to make anybody else feel uncomfortable. You go there, you deal with your emotions alone, and then you come out smiling and get on with your day like nothing happened. Anyway, this was a heavy one. I hope you enjoyed. I don't know if that's too much of an expectation, but yes, thank you for watching. Please keep liking, please keep subscribing, share. If there's anything else that you would like me to talk about, please put it there in the comments. And yeah, let's get healing. Let's talk about things that make us uncomfortable. This is how we heal. We let it out. Bottling it in doesn't help. You let it out. Even if it's not here, you can tell. You can journal. That's also another outlet. You can go to therapy, you can go to church, you can tell your friends, your mom, your dad, your sister, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, a random stranger on the street. Or you can call me. I'm a coach now. I'm gonna be a certified coach by the end of this month. Call me. Let's work through those traumas. I thank you. Till next time.